Welcome to episode 10, Discovering Nagasaki from a Local. My name is Chad, and this is where you can experience everyday life in this scenic and fascinating part of Japan. Let me begin by thanking all the people who regularly watch my vlogs. So far, only one person was able to correctly answer last week's vlog questions. Daniel Hazen. The first question was, how many horizontal clothesline poles were on the balcony next to my bedroom studio? The answer is 3 clothesline poles. The second question was, how many faucets were there in our bakery? The correct answer is 3 faucets. Last Wednesday, Japan's longest-serving Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe, stepped down from power due to a chronic health problem he has. His LDP successor, Yoshihide Suga, will govern until the next national election, which is scheduled for October of 2021. It won't be a contentious election because the Liberal Democratic Party has been in power for 61 of the last 65 years. The autumnal equinox will take place on September 22nd in 2 days, when day and night are of equal length, 12 hours. In Japan, the spider lily, or higanbana, always blooms at this time of year. These spider lilies here are growing wild near our farm. In today's 45-second kanji crash course, I want to introduce the last 6 kanji particles that are found on the left side of more complex kanji, and 2 on the right side. They include words, foot, wine, eat, metal, horse, and on the right, style and sword. There are only 62 peripheral kanji particles in Japanese, so there are only 38 of these kanji particles remaining. Knowing the meaning of kanji particles is the key to long-term memory retention. In today's vlog, I will show you what I have been doing recently in our organic garden in the way of fertilizing and planting. I will also take you on a short tour of a popular pottery museum and shop in Hasami, Nagasaki. Let's get started. I'm now standing in front of our farmhouse in Omura. On the left here, you can see that our fig trees are still producing fruit. You can also see that I reattached the PVC sheeting on our fence after Typhoon Haishen. In front of our farmhouse, you can see several trays of seedlings that we planted during the past week, mostly onions, cabbage, lettuce, and Chinese cabbage. We have some unwelcome guests that are hiding in this tree not far from our front door. This is a recently built nest of paper wasps, Ashinagabachi. This is a close-up of the nest. You can see that most of our eggplants, okra, bell peppers, green perilla, and pumpkins in our side garden are still healthy and growing ever larger. In the garden behind our house, you can see my wife talking with one of our neighbors. She's overdressed and taking no chances with the pesky wasps. Now I'll show you some close-ups of our red perilla, eggplants, cherry tomatoes, and jute. Looking towards the back of our house, you can see several unproductive sections of our garden that I've just weeded and refertilized. I've uncovered my cultivators and I'm about to use the Honda cultivator for mulching. It's going to rain for several days starting tomorrow, so I need to reseed these sections today. As I walk towards the house, you can see the bokashi fertilizer and a burakasu that I've spread on the garden. You can see only a small section of carrots in the row on the left. These are the seeds that I will plant today. I'll make seedlings with the cherry tomato and string bean seeds, and plant the sunny lettuce, spinach, katsuona, shungiku, carrot, bok choy, turnip, and radish seeds in the garden behind me. Shungiku is called garland chrysanthemum in English. This is what the garden looks like prior to cultivating. I'm going to make 2 passes with my cultivator in each of the refertilized areas of the garden to make sure that the soil is evenly fertilized and soft prior to planting seeds. It's already running, and now I'll put it into gear. Here's what mulching looks like from the back of my cultivator. This machine quickly does all the hard work for me. This is what the garden looks like an hour later. The fertilizer and soil are now well mixed. Here on the left are some other sections that I've just fertilized and plowed. During the past 60 minutes, I've leveled off each cultivated section with the back of a rake, kumate, and dug a shallow trench for the seeds with a hoe, kama. It's not hard to do, but it's very necessary. Now I'm ready to seed the garden. These are the tools that I'm using today. My kumate and my kama. During the past 60 minutes, I've seeded the garden, and then I've covered up most of the seeds with soil. I left a short section of spinach seeds uncovered, and now I'll use the back of my rake to cover them up. Just like this. I always try to keep all the garden space I have seeded throughout the year. I have about 500 square meters of fertile soil on my farm, and that's only 1/8 of an acre. Now the seeds are happy and ready to spring into action once they get a bit of rain. I'm now in the town of Hasami, Nagasaki, and this is Hasami's famous pottery center. Let's take a look inside. On the first floor of this building is a large pottery shop with merchandise from the many pottery factories in this part of Nagasaki. Here you can see a wide variety of pottery on sale. On these wall shelves are some beautiful cups, bowls, and vases. Over here are some larger bowls and trays. It's interesting to see all of the imaginative shapes and color schemes of the pottery in this shop. Like these bowls, teapots, and teacups. Here are some interesting rice bowls. And mugs. In this section you can see some contemporary examples of pottery, like these rice bowls, trays, platters, and even ceramic citrus juices. This shop is quite large and the selection is great. Here are some interesting teacups. Some more rice bowls. Some ceramic figurines. And below, some hashioki. On the second floor, the museum has a model of a traditional inclined kiln. As you move up the chambers in this kiln, the interior temperature gets hotter. There is no entrance fee for Asami's Pottery Museum, and visitors can clearly see how traditional pottery was made and view the many antique pottery artifacts on display here. Here you see a giant urn, and next to it various containers for sake and shochu. Over here to the left and behind the glass is a wide selection of ceramic tableware. Much of this tableware is quite old and expensive. This museum has a very interesting collection of antique ceramic tableware with many different shapes, enamels, glazes, and paint patterns. Let me backtrack a bit and show you another series of displays along this wall on the right. Here you can see examples of the ingredients, techniques, tools, and paints that traditional potters used here in Hasami and throughout Japan. It requires a delicate hand to form, handle, store, and paint pottery before it goes into a kiln. Finally, I'll show you a robotic representation of Japan's famous ceramic master, Kenkichi Tomimoto. He was born in Nara in 1886 and he died 57 years ago in 1963. The robot's face bears a striking resemblance to Tomimoto-san, and he manages to deceive many people who visit the museum. The giveaway is that he doesn't answer questions and he moves really slowly. And now for this week's challenging questions. First, what was the landscaping machine that was hanging on a rope next to the wasp nest I showed you? Second, how many ceramic owls did you see in the video I took of Hasami's pottery store? Please continue to support my vlog channel by giving this vlog a thumbs up and by leaving a comment, a question, and/or a suggestion below. Tell me what you find interesting about my vlogs, and if you haven't already done so and you want to see all of my vlog episodes, click the subscribe button below. This is a good time to mention why my wife and I are passionate about organic farming. It's not just a lifestyle choice or a healthy produce choice for our organic bread. We believe that synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides limit sustainable farming and negatively affect the taste and toxicity of vegetables and fruit. As our former woofers can attest to, it takes a little bit more effort to farm organically, but our produce tastes better, and it's definitely safer for us than regular non-organic produce. See you next week.